Several years ago, someone handed Jerry a book. The preface to the book was written by Og Mandino. And he was talking about prosperity and how when you let yourself notice prosperity, no matter how small it is, even in a penny, that it will show you more and more and more and more and more. It was extremely well written, and Jerry and Esther talked about it while they drove. And then, from just the few minutes that they spent reading this book, as they took their first steps somewhere, there was a penny. And Jerry said, well, look at that. Esther gobbled it up and put it in her pocket, and then there was another penny, and then another penny. And so pennies became so prevalent that it really slowed them down in all other aspects of their life, because there were pennies, like nothing that they had ever seen before, all bright and shiny pennies. And they knew that there was a direct correlation between this simple idea that they'd read that they didn't feel any resistance about, and the way the universe then gave them evidence of what they'd been reading. In other words, the evidence backed up the belief that they'd held for a long time that was enhanced by them reading this book, by this person that they revered. So then, pennies. There would be pennies on the nightstand that Jerry swore he didn't put there, and Esther knew she hadn't put there, and yet there they were. The only two people that had been in the house. Who's putting the pennies there? Am I now just seeing things that I wasn't allowing myself to see before? What's going on? Well, the universe is yielding to you what's active in your vibration. That's the way it works, what's active in your vibration. And they were sincere enough about their pleasure in this that pennies. So now this went on for a week or two, and it was getting to be really fun and really humorous. And then they got on an airplane, and they were sitting at the bulkhead, which means there was a wall in front of them, not another seat. And Jerry's on the aisle, and Esther's sitting next to him, and they're talking to each other. And as the plane began to lift off, Esther and Jerry simultaneously looked down, and there were two pennies on the floor that stood up on their ends as they took off. Well, now, someone who understands physics and someone who understands aerodynamics could explain that it was just the perfect vibration of the plane and the perfect thrust of the plane. In other words, this wasn't something that defied physics. Nothing ever defies physics. It's that your perception allows you to see things within the physics that sometimes your perception doesn't allow you to see within the physics, because you've got your rendezvous with it blocked off by a belief that doesn't match your desire. And so nothing like that ever happened again. Esther said to Jerry, I'm glad you saw it because no one would ever believe it. Jerry said, I'm glad you saw it because no one would ever believe it. But it confirmed to them that an active attention upon a subject will yield to you more and 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 more about that. There's not a shred of evidence to the contrary of any of this. And so we really mean it when we say, if there's something that you want that you're not seeing, then start noticing the things that you want that you are seeing, and more of the things that you want that you aren't seeing will start showing up. But when you stand in this stance that I don't get it, I don't understand it, you're not ever going to get it.
Well, that's what I'm understanding more and more. So that's a good tool to give me, because I've been practicing that, and now I just have to, I guess,
well, this falls into the category of trying way too hard. Here's something else that we really want you to hear. Step 1 is asking, and step 3 is letting in, and step 2 is the universe arranging the details. So you've already asked and asked and asked and asked and asked and asked and asked. The vibrational question of an ask is different than the vibration of an answer. So you've got to stop doing the asking part in order to let yourself do the receiving of the answering part. And
so looking for it is the receiving?
Looking for something that isn't there puts you in a place of not letting it show up to you. It actually blocks your ability to see it even if it is there. That's why we say step 1 is ask. Life helps you to do that. Step 2 is source answers. Source will give you the pennies. Step 3 is you got to let it in. You got to be in a position where you let it in. So if you're asking and asking and asking from the vibration of not finding, not finding, not finding, even though the universe can yield it to you, you can't see it because you're in the vibration of the ask or the question rather than in the vibration of the answer or the solution. Is that logical to you?
It's logical, but I'm not looking to not find. I'm actually in the mindset of saying, okay, it's there. Maybe
Untrue.
It's just not looking
Untrue.
the right way.
Nothing that you said was that today. You just kept saying, I can't find it. I don't believe it. I can't find it. I don't believe it. We say, you can have it. You say, I can't have it. We say, you can find it. You say, I can't find it. We say, you can understand this. You say, I can't understand this.
How am I saying all that? I mean, to me, it sounds like I'm saying,
well, we may be
understand.
extrapolating what it sounds to us like you're saying because the results that you're getting are the proof in the pudding.
Well, still, I'm just trying to make some corrections so I can understand, maybe go a different direction.
There are two ways of knowing what you're doing vibrationally. One is by the way you feel. The other is by what shows up. And we call the first one, by knowing how you feel, pre-manifestational awareness. And we call the by what shows up, post-manifestational awareness. And they work really well together. So if we could just get you to meditate instead of say you can't find it, pretty soon it would show up. But you're so determined to find something that you can't find that you won't let it alone long enough to find it.
Well, it's more understanding. So if you
There's
don't
no
know
point
where
in us going any further here
I
because
just want to say one more question. If you don't know where California is, how do you know which way to go then? If you don't know, like where is Yugoslavia? I'm just again which way? I've gone everywhere.
So here are questions to you. Do you believe that California is findable? Do you believe it's findable? Do you believe?
I know it's to the west.
Do you believe California can be found?
Yes.
Do you believe that there are those who know where it is?
Yes.
So these two situations don't relate at all because in this case you believe it can be found and you believe there are those who know where it is, where in the other you don't believe where it can be found and you don't believe that there are those that can tell you where it is. So better stay in Philadelphia.
I see what you're saying. Okay, all right. Fair enough, Abraham. I get what you're saying.
We're not making fun of you.
I know, I'm just trying to get understanding.
You just can't get there from there. You can't get to where you want to be from a place of believing that you can't get there. The law of attraction will not make you the one exception. He doesn't believe, but give it to him anyway because he's nice. It's not how it works. When you believe it, you will see it. Wayne Dyer wrote the best title for the best book that said, you'll see it when you believe it. He said, everybody says, I'll believe it when I see it. And he says, no, you'll see it when you believe it. And you say, okay, Abraham, I get that. That's where I started with you. I know, I'll see it when I believe it. But how can I believe something that I can't see? By believing other things. By trying to remember a time when you didn't believe something else and then you saw it. By looking for evidence that supports your desire rather than evidence that supports your failure to your desire. By looking for what you want to see, not by looking at what you've got. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier today. The thing that keeps you from getting what you want is being where you are. So you just put it in such real terms. Here I am, and this is where I am. How do I get over there? And we say, you can't. Not as long as you're so rooted in where you are. You got to think about what's over there and why you'd like to be over there and how others are over there and how nice it would be to be over there. You've got to try to find the vibrational frequency of over there, and in doing so, you will release the frequency of where you are. But most people have a very difficult time doing that, and you are the best example of somebody having a difficult time of doing that.
That's why I'm trying so hard.
So what you are the reason that we teach meditation. Because you've asked and asked and asked and asked and asked, and it is fully noted. Now, when you meditate and the resistance goes away, it will occur to you. And when it does, it will feel so good to you because it will come directly to you. It won't be something that somebody's trying to say to you. You won't feel frustrated because you're not hearing it through the words. You'll just know. And these examples that you gave to us of the tools and so forth, those examples have answers within them. They will come to you. They will come into your mind at times when you don't have resistance, and full knowing will come to you about this. We're asking a lot of all of you. We're asking you to accept that you create your own reality and that things will change in accordance with what you think about. And you know, it's hardly a person who doesn't really believe that they are thinking about what they want when they're actually thinking about the absence of what they want. So many people say, I'm thinking about money all the time, Abraham. Why won't money come to me? We say, because you're not thinking about money. You're thinking about how you need more money. You're thinking about not having money. Jerry and Esther sat on the porch of their home in Texas one day, and it had been a very hot summer and hardly any rain. And they had 3 acres at the time, and a lot of it was beautifully landscaped, and everything was suffering from not enough water. As they sat on the front porch, Esther said, Abraham, can you help it rain? And we said, why do you want the rain? And Esther said, because everything's so dry. Look at all of the dirt. It's cracked. The trees are all thirsty. The critters in the bushes don't have enough water to drink. And we said, Esther, we didn't ask you why you don't like it when it's not raining. We asked you, why do you want the rain? Why do you want the rain? Well, because I don't want this. That's not what we're asking you. We're asking you, what do you want? Oh, I want it to rain because I love the way the rain smells. And I love the way it feels on my skin. And I love how it softens the earth. And I love how it's sucked up into the trees and up into the bushes. And all the little critters have something to drink. I like it because it cools the air. And in that moment, it incredibly began to rain. And then Jerry turned on the television. He always watched the weather. An isolated thunderstorm over Bernie, Texas today. Dropped a ½ inch of rain. Didn't see that coming. A clear blue sky and an isolated thunderstorm, because Jerry and Esther, in tandem with infinite intelligence, focused upon the desire, not the absence of it.